By whom? Shakespeare. Very good. I don't know. As I was sitting there in the other one, there were things that I know I forgot to tell you. But no, I don't know what they were. So, I guess they weren't that important. We did learn a ton of things about Shakespeare before we ever started on these plays. As you can tell, we've added a few little sound effects and things like that that just shows you how talented our students are. They thought of a lot of that fun about the play. This is Hamlet. It is, okay, so Shakespeare wrote tragedies and comedies and histories. This one, the first one you saw, Midsummer Night's Dream, was a comedy. You probably figured that out. This one is a tragedy because at the end it's got a really bloody, depressing ending. Yeah, kind of sad. But, and yet there will probably be some things that make you chuckle in it. Just like the last play, some of the lines they say are the exact words that Shakespeare wrote, which I think that's really cool. He also believed in rhyming. Rhyming words are easier to memorize, so that's why he made a lot of these lines rhyme. Okay, I'll quit talking and I'll just let them entertain you. This is my homeroom.
And I play Steinwalker, actor, and gravedigger.
I'm Cash Douglas. I play Joseph Hamlet's father, Osric, and the ambassador.
I'm Jesse Ferragino, and I play Horatio.
I'm Kimberly Fiscal, and I play Ramona. I'm Lily Roberts, and I play Francisco and music.
I'm Mary Michelle, and I play Ophelia.
I'm Brian Moreno, and I play Laertes.
I'm Warren George, and I play Polonius.
I'm Blake Walker, and I play Hamlet.
I'm Tanner Turpley, and I play Claudius.
I'm Guy Malone, and I play Gertrude.
I'm Melania Sterling, and I play Julie. I'm Cheyenne Gracing, and I play Narrator 1.
I'm Cindy Bangerter, and I play narrator 2. I'm Mercedes Camille, and I play narrator 2.
Scene 1, midnight outside of Elvenor's Castle in Denmark. It is midnight at Elvenor Castle in Denmark. On a cold, windy platform outside the castle, a guard hears a sudden noise. Who's there? Show your face!
It's just me, Francisco. Thanks to my face. Have you had a fight, Mr. Fun?
Not a mouse stirring. A few minutes later, Horatio arrives. Hello, Bernardo. Has Bingo appeared again tonight?
Not yet, but he has come to the castle.
The men suddenly freeze as a ghostly figure passes before them. Look, there it is.
It looks just like the future guy.
What are you? And why are you here? Speak to us. The ghost looks straight at the men, then silently vanishes.
It will not speak to me.
No, but there may be somebody else to whom it will speak. I better tell Prince Hamlet about this. Scene 2. The next morning inside Elvenor's castle.
The next morning in the castle, King Claudius speaks with his family members and courtiers.
It was with equal amounts of delight and sadness in our hearts that my one-time sister-in-law and I celebrated our recent wedding. Despite the sadness we all feel, we must keep our chins up and look to the future.
King Claudius turns to his nephew Hamlet, who stands off to one side staring at the gun with a dark, gloomy expression on his face.
Hamlet, my nephew, and now son, why do you still look so down in the dumps?
Please, Hamlet, don't keep looking for your noble father in us. You know that all lives must someday end, and all souls pass into eternity.
Yes, I know.
Then why do you continue to appear so depressed?
I don't merely appear depressed. How I feel on the outside is nothing compared to how I feel on the inside.
You mourn your father, and that is right. But remember, lost a father, and that father's father lost one too. It's not manly to grieve too much. Stop brooding over your father's death and start thinking of me as your father. After all, you are the next in line for the throne, and I feel all the love for you that a father feels for his son.
Later, as the room empties out, Hamlet stands alone, still looking depressed and upset.
Oh, I wish this too solid flesh would just melt away. Nothing in this world seems worthwhile to me anymore. This world is just an untended garden where weeds are out of control. He sighs and begins to pace. I can't believe my mother married my uncle so soon after my mother's death.
Horatio enters the room.
Hello, Lord Hamlet. Horatio, it's good to see you. When did you get back from the university?
Not long ago, I came from your father's funeral.
I think you came from my mother's wedding.
Indeed, my lord, it followed soon after the other event.
Well, we're very thrifty people around here. We didn't want to waste any cold meat and appetizers for the funeral. You know, I would have rather fought my worst foe than attend that wedding. All I could think of was myself.
My lord, I think I saw him yesterday night.
Stop me.
The king, your father.
My father?
Please let me explain.
Horatio begins to explain to Hamlet about the ghost that has been appearing before the guards.
Scene 3. Meanwhile, in another part of the castle. Meanwhile, in another part of the castle, Hamlet's girlfriend Ophelia bids farewell to her older brother Laertes, who is about to head off to college in France.
Ophelia, I'll be worrying about you while I'm away. With Prince Hamlet. I know he said some sweet words to you, but
The father Polonius enters the room.
What is it, Ophelia, that Hamlet said to you?
He has expressed his love and made many promises.
Hamlet's out of your way and will be trouble for you. I command you break off this relationship with him at once.
Yes, madam.
Scene 4, outside on the guard's platform.
That night, Hamlet accompanies Horatio and Bernardo out on the guard platform, hoping to catch a glimpse of the ghost. Just before 1 a.m., the ghost appears. The three men quake with fear.
Ghost of my father, why have you come? What is it that you want us to do? The ghost begins to move down the platform, beckoning Hamlet to follow it. It wants me to follow it.
Don't go, I beg you.
Horatio and Bernardo try to hold Hamlet back, but he struggles free from their grip,
Following it until he is high atop the castle fountain. Speak to me here, ghost. I can go no farther.
If you ever loved me, revenge my foul and most unnatural murder.
Murder?
Yes, my son. I was napping in my garden, as I often did, when your uncle of deadly poison. He poured it into my ear. Almost instantly, it swept through my body. But my life, my crown, and my queen were all stolen at once.
That horrible, wicked man. I knew it. I'll avenge you.
So I command you, whatever you do not lay a hand on your own mother.
the ghost vanishes.
Scene 5, the next day in the castle.
The next day, Ophelia follows her father's instructions. She returns Hamlet's letters and tries to avoid him. Eventually, though, he comes looking for her. After his visit, Ophelia runs to see her father.
Ophelia, you look upset. What's happened?
I'm so frightened. As I was sewing in my room, Hamlet came in to see me. His jacket was all unlaced, and his clothes were all dirty. He was so pale, and his knees were shaking so hard that they knocked against each other. He acted like a crazy person.
Maybe his love for you is driving him mad. What do you say?
He just grabbed me hard by the wrist, and for a long moment studied my face. He kept sighing. He seemed so changed, so odd.
What has caused the change, do you think? Have you said any harsh words to him lately?
No, my lord, but I have refused to accept his letters, and I tried to stay away from him just as you asked him to do.
That is driving him mad. I will go talk to the king about this.
Scene 6, in the castle's assembly hall.
In the castle's assembly hall, King Claudius and Queen Gertrude speak with two young courtiers named Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, who have recently arrived from England.
Thanks for making the trip to Denmark so quickly. We have much need of your help here. It's Hamlet, you see. He seems so depressed. We'd like you to find out what's been bothering him.
Hamlet's about this local problem. We are hoping you could find out what has been bothering him.
Anything we could do for your majesties?
Polonius enters the room.
Your Highnesses, I believe I know what's been troubling Hamlet. He's been driven mad by his love for my daughter Ophelia.
Claudius and Gertrude look over love letters and poems that Polonius hands them.
Do you think Polonius could be right?
Hamlet appears at the far end of the hall, his face buried in a book.
Here he comes now. Let's leave him with his friends and see what they can learn.
The king, the queen, and Polonius sneak off.
Lord Hamlet. Hamlet looks up from his book. Hello, friend. How are you, lad?
Not too bad.
Well, you must be out of fortune favor. You're gonna be here in this prison. Prison? Yeah. Denmark's a prison. Why do you say that?
Hamlet refuses to answer. Instead, he asks Rosencrantz and Guildenstern about their travels.
As they described their voyage, they mentioned the fact that they recently passed a theater troupe on the road.
One of the best theater troupes in all of Europe. They'll be here soon. Won't it be fun to see them perform?
Not long afterward, a flourish of trumpets can be heard. And the theater troupe enters the castle. The prince and his friends go to meet them.
Welcome, actors.
Will it be time for a show for the next day?
Yes, indeed. What play do you perform?
Julius Caesar, The Fall of Troy. You can do pretty much any story you'd like.
How about The Murder of Gonzalo? Do you know that story?
Yes.
Good. I'd like to see you perform that one tomorrow night.
A little later, Hamlet paces in the library, alone, talking to himself.
Am I a coward? A villain? Well, those titles probably fit me well enough. Here I am, the son of a dear murdered father, and I've been sent by his ghost to avenge his death. But instead of acting, I stand here unloading the grief in my heart with words. Hamlet pauses for a moment. So what if that ghost were really a demon sent to test me? I better make double sure that my uncle is guilty before I act. That's where this play will come in handy. Yes, indeed. The play's the thing wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king.
Scene 7, the next day. By the next day, Hamlet's mental health, or lack thereof, has become the talk of the castle.
When you talked to Hamlet yesterday, did he tell you what's been bothering him?
He wouldn't say. Have you managed to get him interested in some kind of lighthearted activity? A theater troupe arrived at the castle yesterday. Hamlet seemed very eager to see the players perform. In fact, he wanted to make sure that your majesty attended the performance tonight.
I'm relieved to hear that Hamlet's taking an interest in such things. Go and keep working on cheering him up.
We will, my lord.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern wait.
My dear, will you leave us also? Polonius and I are going to set up a meeting between Hamlet and Ophelia in order to see how he responds to her.
As you wish. The queen leaves. The king and Polonius get Ophelia to stand in the hallway, pretending to read a book. They duck out of sight when they see Hamlet. To be or not to be? That is the question. Is it noble to quietly suffer the stones and arrows that fortune flings at me? Or should I fight back against the sea of trouble? To die, to sleep, thou done all this heartache and pain. Part of me wants to die and be done with this world. But I also worry what happens after death.
Hamlet spots Ophelia.
Today, my lord, how are you today? Well. I have some things here that I've been wishing to return to you.
She holds out a bundle of love letters, poems, and trinkets. Hamlet looks at her blankly.
I never gave you such things. You know you did. You said many sweet words when you gave these things. You should never believe sweet words in this sour world. Hamlet begins to rant and rave at Ophelia. Get thee to a nunnery! Why would you wish to marry anyhow and bring new sinners into this world?
Eventually, Hamlet runs out of steam and shuffles off. Ophelia stares after him with tears streaming down her face.
I don't think love is the cause of Hamlet's behavior, and I also don't think he's insane, but I do think he's dangerous. I think I had better get him away from here. I'll send him to England. We owe the English king a visit and some tribute money. Hamlet can deliver that.
As you wish, my lord, but before he leaves, why don't you have the queen talk with Hamlet privately one last time? Perhaps we'll be able to get some real answers out of him.
Claudius agrees. A message is sent to Hamlet, saying that he can see his mother after the evening's entertainment has ended.
Scene 8, Eleanor's castle.
That night, the king and queen and all their courtiers attend the theater troupe performance of The Murder of Gonzalo. The play is the story of a woman who aspires to have a husband poisoned. Once he is dead, she marries the poisoner. At the moment in the play when the poisoner is pouring his deadly potion into his sick man's ear, King Claudius suddenly rises like a shaking.
Give me some light. Stop the play. Everybody out. Lights, lights.
The lights are lit. In confusion, everyone files out of the room.
A little later, King Claudius stands in his private chambers, talking to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
I don't think it's safe to keep Hamlet here. Given the way he's been acting lately, therefore I am asking you to return to England and bring him with you. I will give you papers that you can deliver to the English king, introducing Hamlet and explaining our situation.
Your safety and the safety of the people are our greatest concern.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern depart.
leaving Claudius alone looking frightened and shaken.
The offense I committed stinks to high heaven. To kill my own brother and now guilt and fear hound me every minute.
Claudius falls to his knees attempting to pray.
I want to pray, but what words can I use? How can I ask for or be granted forgiveness when I continue to wear this ill-gotten crown? How can I ask for forgiveness when I continue to be married to the queen? I'm stuck in a pit of sin and corruption and I can't get out of it.
Hamlet enters the room quietly, with his sword drawn. Now I should do it. I should kill him.
He raises his sword and then pauses.
But look at him. He's praying. If I kill him now, he might go straight to heaven. My father had no chance to confess his sins before he was killed. No, I had to kill Claudius when he's in a rage, or swearing, or drunk. Not when he's praying. Oh wait.
Hamlet puts his sword down and sneaks away.
Scene 9. Elvenor's Castle, the Queen's Chambers.
Later that night, Queen Gertrude sits in her private chamber, speaking to Polonius.
You must tell Hamlet that his behavior of late has been unacceptable for the king.
I will but hide now. I hear him coming.
Polonius hides behind a tapestry.
Why did you want to see?
Hamlet, you have offended your father.
Mother, you have offended my father.
You have a wicked tongue, my son.
I think the wickedness is all your own.
Hamlet, have you forgotten to whom you're speaking?
No, I certainly haven't. You're the queen, your husband's brother's wife, and you're also my mother. I wish it weren't the case.
She rises to leave, looking both indignant and scared.
I'll not speak to you if you're going to be like this.
Hamlet grasps his mother by the arm, holding her back. No, you'll sit down and listen to me.
Gertrude struggles against Hamlet's grip. She's very frightened.
What are you going to do? Are you going to kill me? Help! Help!
What's going on?
Hamlet hears a voice. He turns and sees that someone is hiding behind a tapestry.
Ah, I smell a rat.
Hamlet draws his sword and lunges blade to the tapestry. Claudius shrieks and falls to the ground dead.
Oh, I've been slain.
Oh, Hamlet, congrats on a bloody deed. Yes, a bloody deed. Almost as bad good mother as to kill a king and marry with his father.
Kill a king.
Yes, that's what I said.
Hamlet discovers Polonius' body.
Oh, Polonius, that intruding fool. Farewell, old man. I did not intend to kill you. I mistook you for your better.
Scene 10. Elvenor's Castle.
After Polonius' murder, the king and queen hurry Hamlet off to England. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern accompany him, carrying papers to deliver to the English king.
Although no official pronouncement of Polonius' death is made, Ophelia soon finds out the truth. Badly shaken and afraid that she's losing her grip on reality, she writes to her brother, Laertes, begging him to return to France.
By the time Laertes has returned to Denmark, Ophelia has gone mad. Laertes longs to avenge his father's death in his sister's mental collapse by killing Hamlet. It becomes clear that he may soon have the opportunity after 2 letters arrive from Hamlet. Horatio receives the first line.
This is my letter from Hamlet. We are on our way to England and have been sailing for 2 days when our ship was attacked by pirates. In the skirmish, I was taken prisoner. Fortunately, the pirates were willing to release me with the understanding that I would repay the favor someday. As you read this, I'm on my way back to Denmark. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern continue on their way to England. I have much more to tell you, but it can wait until I see you next. Your friend Hamlet.
The king receives a different letter. He shares the contents with Laertes. This is what Hamlet told me. Your Majesty, I am about to arrive back in your kingdom. I am unarmed and without any money or possessions. I ask you to show mercy toward me. As soon as I see you, I will explain the circumstances of my sudden strange return. Hamlet.
Hamlet, he's coming back. Now he'll have to face me and face what he's done.
Laertes, your desire for revenge is natural, and I don't intend to stop you. However, I ask you to go about it my way, okay? I have a scheme in mind through which you can get your revenge without taking any blame for your actions.
What do you propose?
I'll coax Hamlet into fencing with you. During the match, you can kill him and pretend that it was an accident.
I put some poison on the tip of my sword, so even a small cut will do him in.
And just in case that fails, we'll also have a cup of poison right at the sidelines for him.
Just then Claudius and Laertes heard English cries. The queen rushes into the room.
Laertes, your sister is drowned.
Drowned? Where?
In the brook down by the weeping willow. She wandered down there, put herself in flower chains and garlands, and then lay down in the water, singing. Eventually, the water pulled her under.
Ophelia? Drowned? Alas.
Scene 11, the local churchyard. When Hamlet returns to Denmark, the first person he goes to see is his trusted friend Horatio. The two talk as they stroll through the local churchyard.
When Rosencrantz and Guildenstern weren't looking, I stole a peek at those documents they did. I'm glad that I did. In one of them, Claudius had requested that I be beheaded as soon as I reached the English court.
So what did you do?
I made some changes to the documents and took it back where I found them. I guess those papers are still on their way to England, along with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
Horatio and Hamlet come upon a grave digger humming as he digs.
How can he hum like that when he's digging graves? He's dug so many that I can do it now without thinking about it.
Hamlet leans down and picks up a skull that has been exposed during the digging.
This skull had a tongue in it once, and could sing too. Whose was it, do you know?
That skull was yours, the king's jester.
Alas, poor Yorick! I knew it was me. Horatio, when I was a little boy, he carried me on his back 1,000 times.
A funeral procession enters the churchyard. Hamlet and Horatio stand back watching as the king, the queen, Laertes, and a number of lords and ladies approach a newly dug grave. A body is lowered down. The queen throws petals into the open grave.
Sweet to the sweet. Farewell, Ophelia. I'd hoped you'd be my daughter-in-law. I thought I'd be putting flower petals on your bridal bed, not your grave.
Ophelia? Dead? Oh no!
I hope doom falls heavily on the head of the man responsible for this.
Hamlet steps forward.
I fear I may be the man unto whom you speak, Laertes. But please know that I never meant to hurt you. I loved Ophelia.
Hamlet, you're back? Not your face.
Laertes lunges for Hamlet. Their response is your forcibly fired.
Please don't hurt him. He didn't mean to cause your sister's death. He was out of his mind when he killed your father.
Eventually, Laertes is calm. But as Hamlet and Horatio exit the churchyard, Claudius leans over and whispers in Laertes' ear.
Just be patient. You will have your revenge yet.
Scene 12, Elsinor's Castle.
The next day, a message comes for Hamlet as he stands speaking to Horatio.
His Majesty wanted me to tell you that he has made a wager with the King of France. Laertes, who is newly returned from France, is known there to be a very good defender. King Claudius has wagered that in a dozen fencing passages between you and Laertes, he shall not exceed you by 3 feet.
What's riding on this wager?
6 Barbary horses and 6 fancy, expensive French races.
Well, it's the time of day when I usually take some exercise. Someone will bring the foils. I'll see if I can win this bet for the king.
All drink depart. Soon, servants come in carrying seating cushions, fencing foils, and wine. They begin setting up for the match.
If you feel at all uncomfortable or threatened, just say a word. I'll do it. Up or follow the match. There's no way to stall in space, Rachel. My time has come. My time has come.
Laertes, Claudius, Gertrude, and other lords and ladies arrive.
Come, Hamlet, shake hands with Laertes before the match.
Hamlet takes Laertes' hand.
Give me your pardon, sir. I've done you wrong. But I did not intend to. It was my madness, not I.
I pardon you.
Come then, let's fence. Your talent should shine through today when matched against my lesser ability.
Hamlet and Laertes begin to fence. Hamlet scores a hit.
You look thirsty, Hamlet. Here, have a drink.
Claudius holds a cup out to Hamlet.
I'll finish this bout first. Tell my drink over there.
The fencing match continues. Hamlet scores another hit.
Our son is going to win.
Gertrude picks up the cup that Claudius has offered to him.
Here's your success, my son.
No, don't drink from that cup.
It is too late. The queen is already drinking poison.
The fencing continues. Laertes wounds Hamlet. And the angry scuffles that follow, the two of them exchange blades. Moments later, Hamlet wounds Laertes. Over the sidelines, the king suddenly stumps onto the floor.
The queen, what's wrong?
She swooned when she saw you both bleeding.
Mother, drink. Oh, dear Hamlet, I'm poisoned. My mother's poisoned. There's a villain in this room.
The room erupts in chaos. Hamlet turns and stares with blazing eyes at the king.
Somebody lock the doors. I'm gonna finish this now.
Just then, Laertes collapses, gasping.
It's too late, Hamlet. You only have half hour to it. A blazing hole would have to push it. One's are fatal.
Poison on the blade as well as in the cup. Let it do its work.
Hamlet stabs the king.
Hamlet grabs a goblet full of poison wine. He holds it to the king's mouth and forces him to drink.
And drink this.
Horatio leaps up, grabbing at the poison wine
Here's
bottle.
the poison. If my best friend is going to die, swim on. No.
In order to prevent Horatio from drinking, Hamlet downs the rest of the wine himself. Then he collapses onto the floor. Horatio kneels beside him.
So, and tell my sad story to this harsh world.
Tears stream from Horatio's eyes as he watches Hamlet's breathing slow and stop.
A noble heart has tried. Good night, sweet son.
Just then, a trumpet announces an arrival at the castle. An ambassador from England enters the room.
What a horrifying sight! I guess I've come too late to deliver my news to his lordship. I wanted to tell him that his command has been carried out. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead.
You seek things from the one who never gave him command. Come, let us bear away these bodies. We will bury Lord Hamlet like a soldier, for I think that is fitting. Given the struggle he has faced, and he I believe he would have been a great king.